everybody! Today we're going to be working on some different earring kits and showing you some of the technique on how to make earrings. Everything is pretty straightforward. We're going to be using pins and wire, doing it a couple different methods, so that way you kind of get some ideas on how things are done properly and kind of get you some practice with the technique. You can see I'm just straightening some of my pins, trying to kind of prep them before we do our project. And all I'm doing is holding on to it with a pair of flats, just holding on to the little ball here, and then this is a wire straightener. You can see its little plastic jaws, and just running it down the length of the wire, trying to get a little bit of those kinks out. The first one that I'm doing is just a pretty basic straightforward pattern. It has one pin that goes through the middle, and it has a loop on the top. So I'm just going to stack my beads in the correct order. The ball goes on the bottom, and then I'm going to work my way from the bottom to the top, and then we're going to make a loop on there. And we're going to do this several different times. So if you have any questions or you need to pause the video and replay it, you can do that as many times as you want to. So that way you can kind of get some good practice in. And like I said, we're going to be doing lots of different methods, so that way you kind of get to see sometimes when there's just one loop on the top or a loop on the top and the bottom. Some of the earring kits that we're doing have moving parts, all different kinds of stuff, so that way you kind of really get a good feel for what it's supposed to look like. And all I'm doing right now is just stacking up beads in pattern. And these little nutcrackers are so cute. We do so many of these every Christmas, and so just make sure it kind of looks like the pattern. We're doing pretty good. Okay, so first up, we're going to use a pair of flat chain nose pliers. You can see it doesn't have any teeth, lines, or grooves on the inside, so that way it won't mark my wire. And I'm going to grab it a little bit above the pin. See that little gap right there? That's where my wraps are going to be. And I'm going to hold my beads and turn the tool forward 90 degrees. Okay, take that out and switch to a round nose plier. Okay, on this particular pair of pliers, I want to be about 1/4 of the way from the end. Different brands will be different sizes though, so you can kind of do it however you like. The tool goes right in there as close to the corner as you can get. Okay, my bead's in the way, so I just kind of get as close as I can. The short wire is going to go over the top towards you. And then we want to keep going and make a complete loop, but eventually we will hit this bottom blade, so we don't want to do that. So what we're going to do is open our tool, readjust it out of the way, and all I did was I just rotated it. I'm not pulling the wire with me, I'm just fixing the tool where now one's in the middle and one is on the top. If it's easier just to take it out and totally readjust it yourself, that's fine, whatever you prefer. Then your short wire needs to go straight underneath away from you, and you want to stop at a 90-degree angle. Okay? And if your loop is a little crooked, you can kind of just straighten it up like that and then readjust your wire back down to a 90. Okay. Hold on to the loop with your pair of flats. I'm covering up where the loop crosses, okay, but not where the wire crosses here. Okay, you need to be able to get to that. And pins can be a little bit stiff, so if you want to take another pair of pliers and grab that tail, it may help you to wrap it around. And you want to wrap it all the way around until you hit the bead and then stop. Okay, sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3. With practice, you'll get better at making them even. But for now, just kind of do the best you can, and when you hit the bead, stop. Usually I like to do 1.5 or 2, and then cut that tail off as close as you can get, but don't cut the loop in half or we'll be starting over. And then usually there's a little bit of tail here that you can press down a little tighter. And we are good. We're ready to put the ear wire on this guy. So this is the same technique that we use for making any one thing hang from any other thing. Okay, so to open the ear wire, can you see there's a little break in it right there? I'm going to take a pair of flats, hold on to one side of it, hold the ear wire, and lift up. That way it makes a little gap, so that way I can put my piece in there. Okay. And all I'm going to do, and I try to put the cut tail of where my loop and wrap is, I try to put it in the back so that way nobody sees it. Little things that make a difference. And then you're going to grab onto your ear wire loop and pull it back down. You just want to make sure it's really, really close, that way nothing falls out. If you want to kind of give it a gentle squeeze here, you can. But mainly just make sure that loop is closed so that nothing falls out. So anytime you have a pair of earrings where you're just stacking beads and making a single loop on the top, this is how we do it. Okay, now let's try one that has to have a loop on the bottom to connect the charm and a loop on the top to connect the ear wire. So with this, since we don't want a ball on the bottom because we need to be making a loop, you're given a piece of wire in your kit. So what you're going to do is take a pair of flats and just hold on to the cut end of the wire, and then again with your wire straighteners just slowly drag them across. And the wire doesn't have to be perfectly straight, you're just trying to get those kinks and bends out. You can do it a couple different times. You can kind of rotate the angle of the pliers if you want to, and go ahead and do that to both sides. But what you're doing when you work with these straighteners is you're actually work hardening the wire, so that way whenever you go to make it take the shape of the loop, it's a lot more likely to stay that way. Okay, so good enough. This one's very straight, you don't have to get it quite that straight. Alright, so we have to make the loop on the top and the bottom. So about a third of the way down on one end, I want you to take your flats and hold your thumb behind the tool so that way you have something to push against, and turn your tool forward 90 degrees. Okay? And all I did was just make a little 90-degree bend. Okay, take those out and go back in with your round nose, similar to what we did before on the one with the pin. There's just no beads on it. So choose the size of your loop. That depends on how deep you go on your pliers here. Okay, choose the size of your loop. You want to be as close to that corner as you can get. Short wire is going over the top towards you. Again, we don't want to hit that bottom blade, so rotate your tool out of the way. Long wire goes straight underneath away from you, 90 degrees. Look at it, see how it looks. If it needs to be straightened a little bit, go ahead and do that now. Okay. This time though, we're not going to stop and wrap it, because we need to put the charm on there. So what I want you to do is keep your round nose in there and just slowly pull this towards you. And what that does is it makes a little gap right here so that we can put our charm in there. Okay, so we're making a little gap right there. So I'm going to take the tool out and I'm going to slip the charm in. You can put the charm on either end of the wire, it shouldn't matter. Okay, but you want it to dangle in the middle of the loop. Once you get it, I prefer to hold it with the long one to the left and the short one straight up and down. Okay, so my tool is parallel to my short wire. Short wire is going to wrap around the long one. Try not to touch this one if you can. You don't want to move it. You're just moving the little wire. And you're just going to do 2 wraps. And you can see how you want to start at the loop and work your way towards the open end. And you want them to be kind of nice and tidy, close together. Okay. And it looks like I've only got one in the front, so I'm going to go around one more half time around. Okay. Nice and tidy, looks good. Okay, if you have a hard time and you need to squeeze them closer together, just take a pair of flats and grab right here, and very gently, because it's easy to slip off with your tool, you don't want to nick the wire, but you can just squeeze it close together right there. Okay, that'll close up any gaps for you that you have. And then go ahead and get ready to cut, and when you cut, don't let it fly off and hit you in the face. You can grab it with your hands, cover it with your hands pointed at the mat, whatever you got to do. But just protect that wire, and then feel it with your finger, feel that little rough spot sticking up. Take your flats and just press it down. And you can kind of rotate and kind of walk the tool around if you need to. Okay, so now we have, kind of like we did before with the pin, we've got a stopper on the bottom. We're going to stack our beads and make a loop on the top. So we're kind of going to go by our pattern. Okay. So the big one, and the silver, and the green. Okay, so one thing you may want to think about when you're doing your earrings, the hook is going to go this way. So pay attention to the direction of the loops. You want them both to be going this way. You don't want one of them going this way because it's going to turn your earring to the side. So when we go in to make our 90-degree bend this time, we need to make sure that we're going the right direction. So we are going to grab it a little bit above, leaving a gap. Okay. And we're going parallel to our bottom loop, so hold your beads and turn your tool forward 90 degrees. Okay, so this is where we're at. Take those out and switch it to your round nose. As close in that corner as you can get. You don't want any big gap there. Wire goes over the top towards you. Readjust your tool to get that bottom blade out of the way. Straight underneath away from you. Kind of angle it to yourself so you can see what's going on. And straighten it if you need to. Okay, it should look like a lollipop, straight up and down, and then centered circle on the top. Perfect. All right, take it out, switch back to the flats and hold your loop. Your wrapping wire is parallel to your tool. Okay, you're going to start wrapping at the loop and go down towards the beads. Whenever you hit your beads, stop. Okay. Perfect. And if you lift your wire up so that it's kind of perpendicular to your loop, you can get in there with your cutters a little bit better and you're a lot less likely to cut your loop in half. So lift it up so it's out of the way, get ready to cut, and just hold on to that tail. And then again, you can use your flats to kind of press that loose end down. Looks great. All right, so we will go ahead and put the ear wire on that one. And remember, you want the front to be the front, so pay attention to what you're putting on. And if you're paying attention when you're cutting, you can cut your tail wires in the back, so that way everything matches up. If you get something backwards, you can always grab a hold of your loops and rotate them in case you need to move something. But if you do it right the first time, you won't have to worry about that. Okay, perfect. Then we just make the matching one and we are good to go. Alright, so the next one that I want to show you has two different things that you're going to learn. One of them, this uses the jump rings to stagger the height of different things when you're making a cluster. The other thing I want you to take notice of is we're going to do a totally different kind of loop on the top of the bead here. When you want things to be a little bit closer and smaller, you may like this kind of loop a little bit better. So you're giving a smaller 1-inch ball pin for this one. And all we're going to do is we're going to put the bead on. And this time we're not doing wraps. This is just a simple loop. So we're going to grab it as close as we can get to the beads because we don't need that gap for the wraps. Again, hold the bead and turn your tool forward. You usually can't get a 40-degree angle though. You're usually only going to get about a third of the way. Okay, this is way too much wire, so we're going to trim it to be a little bit bigger than 1/4 of an inch. For me, it's about the width of my finger. I know that's not a standard unit of measurement. Everyone's different, but you'll just have to find something that works for you. And with practice, you'll get better at making it more uniform. But you're going to grab it on the cut end, and you're kind of going to take your hand like a motorcycle handle. You're going to be going down like this, and I'm pushing down at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to grab it right at the cut end, and I'm pushing down, and it's making it curve on the end. Okay, so that way I'm putting most of the stress over here on the end, not over here, because it will just stand the wire up. Okay, so I want it to start curving on the end. Your hand can only go so far in one motion, so I'm going to readjust and go again. And open it and readjust and go again until I get pretty close, and then kind of turn it towards me. And using the small tip of my tool, just kind of tuck it in a little bit. Okay, and again, just like the ear wires, if we need to, we can kind of squeeze it side to side to make it close up a little bit if it's not closed. Okay, so you just have a tiny closed little loop, and that'll dangle perfectly with our other pieces. So what we have for this one is a little snowflake charm on the bottom, and we're going to use jump rings to attach everything. You can see there is a little break right there. Okay, so you're going to do 2 pairs of flats, open the jump ring like this, just like we did the ear wires, front to back. Put the charm in there and close. And when you close it, you kind of want to wiggle back and forth and push it together at the same time. You can kind of feel it grinding a little bit against each other, the cut ends, and you can feel it closing. And if you need to kind of realign them, see how the one on the left is a little higher, you can kind of just a little bit press them together just a bit. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect, but it does need to be closed because we don't want anything falling out. All right, so we're going to do another jump ring. We're going to open it the same way, but this time we're going to put the charm in there, the little bead with loop that we just made. See how it raises the pearl up a little bit so that way it's not covering up the snowflake? And then the ear wire. We don't even have to open the ear wire this time because we're using the jump rings. It's already open. And then close it. If you need to realign them, you can. And it's perfect. So the only thing with this kind of stuff is you want them to be a left and a right earring. So pay attention when you're putting them on. You want the pearl on the left and you want the pearl on the outside on the right on this one. Okay, so whenever you're doing that second jump ring and you put things on in order, instead of putting the charm first, you will put the pearl first and then the charm and then the ear wire. You just go the opposite direction. Okay, but other than that, they're exactly the same. All right, the next ones that I wanted to make sure that everyone saw, both of these earrings have moving parts. So this is a totally different concept, so I want to make sure that y'all get it. So on these guys, the little legs actually dangle, so they're attached with separate loops here. And then on the Santa hat, the hat actually dangles and moves. It's an independent piece from the rest of the earring. So we'll do both of these so that way you get kind of a good idea of how everything works. Alright, so let's see if you can see it in the picture here. So you're given a 1-inch ball pin for each leg. So there's one here and one here. And we're going to do the simple loop on the top. So that way we don't add a bunch of length between the leg and the body. And then for the body here, you can see it has a loop on the bottom. You are given an eye pin in the package that will be that loop on the bottom. And then we'll open it like we would the ear wire and scoop up both the legs and then close it, stack the beads here on the body and make a loop on the top. Okay, so that's kind of just a general rundown of how we're going to do it. So our little 1-inch pin for the legs, and you can use your diagram on your kit to kind of put everything together in the correct order. Okay, so there's one little leg. Okay. And we're doing the simple loop on this one. And seed beads are kind of delicate, so you don't want to get too close to the bead here and crunch it. So I'm going to leave a teeny tiny gap. It does not have to be enough to do wraps because I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm just trying to give my tool some more wiggle room so that way when I bend it, I don't crunch the bead and break it. Okay, so that's totally good enough right there. I'm just going to stop. And then just like on our other simple loop, we're going to trim it 1/4 inch, come in with the round nose on the cut end, roll it back, readjust, roll it back, readjust, roll it back, and kind of tuck it in because you do need to make sure that it's closed. Yeah, looks good. All right, so we'll do the other one because he's got to have 2 legs. And with these little seed beads, make sure you get the colors in the right order so that they match each other. If you do red, white on one, and then white, red on the other one, it's going to look a little crazy. Okay. Looks good, matches the other one. And now we just make a loop. So teeny tiny gap. Hold the beads, bend it forward. Trim it 1/4 inch. And roll it back. Just make sure it's closed. You don't want a leg falling off while you're wearing them, okay? Perfect. All right, so the little eye pin that we're given, it just has a loop on one side but not on the other side. It has that same break in it like the ear wire does. That little gap is right there. And we're going to lift it up so it makes a little gap, perfect for dropping the little legs in. And it doesn't matter because we don't have any wraps or anything. We don't have to pay attention to front or back, anything like that. Just put them in there. And then grab it with your flats and close it up. And make sure they're closed good because you don't want to lose anybody. Okay. So super cute little moving legs there. Okay. And the direction of the top loop does matter because we want the legs to be like this. We don't want to see the legs from the side. So pay attention to the loop that you're making on the top in just a second. So we will go ahead and put our little beads on there. It's got a belly and a head and a little bling for his cap. And that's it. Okay, super cute. So let's go ahead and make the loop on the top. And remember, we want it kind of parallel to the other one. So hold the beads, bend it forward, trim it, and roll it back. Super cute. These are really popular. We do so many of these around Christmas time. And then open up your ear wire, and it doesn't matter front or back which way you put him on. Just make sure that it's all closed up really well. Okay. Super cute with independent little wiggling legs, so they have a little movement when you're walking around. Alright, so the next one we're going to do is the Santa. So the hat piece here is the independent moving part. So we have a regular pin here. Going to stack our beads and make a simple loop, and then the 1-inch pin is a little shorter. It starts here, and we're going to stack our beads, make a loop, and then link them together by opening up the loop here and just adding it to the loop here, and then add the ear wire. Okay, so that's kind of a general rundown of what we're doing, so let's do it together. So you do need to straighten the pins out again, just like we've been doing. The 1-inch pins, you don't really have to do that so much because they're already so short that they're usually in pretty good condition when you get them. But if they need a little help, go ahead and do it. It's not going to hurt anything. Alright, so look at your pattern, make sure you got everything going in the right place. Alright, so this is what the little body looks like. Okay. And we're just not doing the little side part of the hat yet. That's a totally separate piece. So again, we're going to do the simple loop on the top. And you kind of have to be careful with crystals, just like you do the seed beads. You don't want to break them. So leave yourself a teeny tiny gap just so it has some room for the tool to bend. Hold the beads, bend it forward 90 degrees. Take your cutters, trim it 1/4 inch. And roll it back with the round. And point it at you if you can't really see what's going on. If you get too small, you can make it a little bit bigger. And just make sure it's totally closed. Okay, and then we're going to do the hat. Gets the little pearl and 2 of the little red bicones. Okay, so we're going to make that an independent piece, and then we'll assemble everything together. So it's all the same concept, just lots of loops, just applied a little bit differently to give you very different effects. But once you practice and you get these loops down, you can make a lot of really cool stuff. And it's really good for like charm bracelets or like clustered pendants, things like that. Once you learn different ways to attach them, you can do a lot of different stuff. Okay, so here's my little dangle piece. They need to go together. So the loop that you just made has a break in it. It's on the right side where my tool is. I'm going to hold the tool, open it up just like I did before. Okay, it makes a little gap. And then I'm going to put the little hat in there. And then close it back up. Okay, so you're going to do the same thing on the other one, and just pay attention when you're putting your ear wire on there. You want a left and a right, so you either want the top over here or the top over here, and then hook the ear wire in there appropriately. Then when you're done, just hold them up, look at them, and make sure you have a left and a right. And then if not, then just open it and rearrange it. Easy to do. The first one obviously doesn't matter. The second one, just make it the opposite of the first. Okay, and you can wear 2 Santas or 2 elves or 1 Santa and 1 elf. Those are really cute too. Alrighty, and the final project I want to show y'all today is these candy canes. They can be a little bit tricky, so it's nice to be able to walk you through this in this video. So what you're given is 1 long ball pin. The ball is right here, and then we're going to string it back and make a loop on the bottom. Okay? And you need to do it how I do it in this video. If you try to bend it after, or you don't put everything in the right way, or you kind of work from the other end, it doesn't always come out exactly right. So this one's kind of particular, but very, very simple. And once you see how it goes together, really easy to do. So you do want to go ahead and straighten your pin. You don't want any kink showing up in your nice straight little candy cane. Okay, and like I said, we are stringing from here and working back. So we're going to do red, clear, red. You need to put the ear wire on while you're stringing, because if you try to attach it after it's bent, it's very hard to fit it in this gap here. And then clear, red, and this actually above and below the bow is a tiny little clear bicone, and then red, clear, red, okay? So red, clear, red, put that ear wire on, and you're going to be able to pay attention to the direction of things as you're going. If you want to do one with the ear wire facing the back and another one with the ear wire facing the front, you can do it that way and just kind of work both earrings at the same time, or just pay attention when you do it on the second one. Whatever you need to do to kind of get it worked out, but you got to put the ear wire on now, so you can't change it later very easily. You can, it's just not that easy. Easier if you get it right the first time, as always. This is that tiny little one that goes between the bow, and make sure you put the bow on upside down because we're working it from the little crook part down, okay? And these little smaller ones fit in between the little legs of that bow really nicely. Okay, so if you make your loop right now, it's going to be too tight to bend anything. So you need to kind of go in and do your bending now, and you're just going to use your hand to do it. Kind of just bending around my finger, and I'm holding onto the beads here, but I'm not holding them in place really tightly because I don't want to crack any beads. I just kind of want it to be able to see what's going on and give it a nice little shape. Okay? When you're happy with it, then we make the loop on the bottom, but don't do it until you're pretty much basically done with it. That's pretty cute. All right, I'm good. So we're going to turn upside down, slide all the beads kind of close together. You don't want any slack in there. You don't want it super tight where you crack a crystal, but you don't want gaps in there either. And then a teeny tiny, tiny gap, just like we did because the crystals are delicate. Hold the beads, turn the tool, trim it 1/4 inch, and roll it back. And then, like I said before, you just need to pay attention to which way the ear wire goes on the second one, so that way you have a right and a left. Okay? Super cute, very popular. And then there's a big pendant that goes with this one too. That one's very cute too. We can have a whole matching set. So I think that's everything that we've got for you today. Hopefully y'all got some good techniques. Feel free to pause this, rewind it, kind of do it along with me as many times as you want to. And if you have questions and you need help with it, just come up to the store and do it at the table. Like, I'd be happy to help you. Or comment below if you have any questions and we can work it out. So have fun and thanks for watching. Bye. And as a thank you for watching our video today, one lucky winner is going to get one of the elf earrings and one of the Santa earring kits. So if you want to win these kits, all you have to do is comment below which one of the earring kits were your favorite and which method did you like better, the loop and wrap method or the simple loop that we did kind of like on the elf here with no wraps on there. So which one do you prefer and which one's your favorite kit? And we'll go through and choose someone before the end of the day tomorrow, and we'll notify you if you won. So thanks for watching and share with a friend. Bye.